events again.
He has. Too many happy birthdays at these things now. It's out of control.
Yeah, and they missed Brad's birthday.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, I nearly missed yours yesterday. This is another great intro, Jimbo, because we are now live here from Hobie Fishing with myself, Chris, and obviously Jim Barry.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Jimbo, we are about to make this roadshow head to sunny Queensland.
This time next week, we will be, I won't say drinking pina coladas and sitting by the poolside, but we will be in Queensland.
Yeah. You would call it God's country.
Absolutely.
Born and bred.
Winning state of origin team, everything else.
Needed just a decal across the front of your shirt that says Queenslander.
Yeah.
Well, look, we are very, very much looking forward to getting back up to the Gold Coast. It is one of our favoured locations, and I have to say, Jimbo, for this particular event, it is an absolute credit to the Queenslanders, and a big shout out to Gordon at Sun State and the team up there at Sun State, you know, for really getting behind the event.
Yeah.
I think with 73 people registered so far, we are almost at 50% Queenslanders.
Yeah.
And I think we've never seen anything like that. I don't want to say that Queensland's been light on previously, but it has never been to the volume that it is. So for those anglers that are going to make their way along, whether this is your first event with us or you're returning, you know, after a bit of a layoff period, we're really, really looking forward to welcoming everybody to the event. Sunshine, sunshine, and more sunshine. So we're looking forward to finding out whether that spawn run has kind of happened, whether they're mid-run, whether they're post-run, you know, whether they're schooled up or whether they're all spread out. So the Gold Coast has got a lot to offer. We know that it's been a past Worlds location and it's been our most recent Australian Championships location. So, so much to look forward to up there. A couple of little things in and around the car parking and whatnot, Jim, that we've just been through as well. You might want to just go through some of those details.
So Nicole, our good friend from ABT, has got in contact with us and reminded us that now cars are metered parking.
Yes, so
within
that's
that area.
the car park at the Broadwater Reserve.
Yes.
What would normally look like a lot of boat parking and car parking is now metered.
Now that metering starts from 9 o'clock. However, with our competitors being on the water from 7 o'clock, you're basically going to be paying from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock regardless. So the other option is you put a trailer on the back of that vehicle.
And it is
free.
There you go. So for a lot of the other events, like we've just come away from the Georges River where we're saying carpool, you know, rooftop, because there's not as much trailer parking. This one is flipped on its head.
Correct.
So if you do have a trailer, it is otherwise all day parking for free. If you are no trailer, then it is metered. So perhaps have a look at your accommodation, have a look at where you're sort of coming from and what you can do. If you can trailer pool with a friend, then jump on and do that. I think it'll benefit everybody.
And that's really just for the people that are travelling there. We do have a lot of people staying at the tourist park, which is very handy, wheeling their kayaks through the middle of the park.
There's not too many places like it. So look, the other thing too is obviously the online entry, or the on-time online entry finishes tonight.
11:59.
Yeah. So for those people that haven't quite got their entry in yet, to make sure you do get that at the on-time rates, please jump on to hobiefishing.com.au and get those entries in. And Jim, there is one notable absentee there just at the moment.
I was talking to Joel just a while ago. He said no complaints.
Oh, okay, rightio. So Joel Crosby says that Tony Petty does not need to enter.
Absolutely not.
All right. I think that has got, and not that it would have an impact on the AOY race because Joel is so far in front. Hi, Joel.
Hi, Joel. Someone else that's not complaining about that is
Mr. Baxter, perhaps. We've got a sneaky kind of quiet achiever in our field this year, and DB, it does not go unnoticed from our end, but we've got some changes that are likely to come about. The Gold Coast is really going to, or more likely, cement what is going to happen on AOY, because we've got a number of anglers, Jim, that are about to head back to China for the first time in a few years. The CAA events are back on, and there's going to be some notable absentees from our basin round.
That's right.
Which really does push that AOY race forward to this Gold Coast event, but then it also opens the door, potentially depending on what happens at the Gold Coast, for another Victorian. It's kind of between Crozza, Tony Petty, DB kind of, I don't want to use the word lurking in a negative sense, but, just really lurking, to maybe see what can happen there. So it's a great format. I think that the AOY is something that obviously all anglers aspire to.
Yeah.
And then it's really great to see the Victorian guys doing a really, really great job of it this year. So, mate, we just touched on the Basin. A new launch site? Well, not a new launch site, but a
returning back to Basin View, because of what's really happened at Palm Beach. A few different area changes on the foreshore for swimming zones, and also a little bit more kids play area, I believe.
Yep.
So we are now at Basin View. There is a lot more parking up the top for the vehicles. But yeah, it's...
And Jack Gammy and Mitch Madison tell me that they're really happy that we're launching pretty well right out the front of their spots, apparently.
Well, it was always the way. When we fished there, it was you go straight across good fish to go and get to maybe no fish.
Yeah, so it's
the Basin.
There's September in the Basin. It's going to be a blade-a-thon, a grub vibe, but then
it could be. But I've watched events in the middle of July where I've fished 3 foot of water, and they are there.
Yep, and they are some of the bigger.
Some of the podium bags will be in the shallows.
Yeah,
definitely.
There's plenty of anglers that can attest to that. So look, we're obviously looking forward to doing a round much closer to home.
Yeah,
as well for us. It'll certainly make a difference being able to sleep in your own
Daryl's
bed.
going to appreciate that.
He will. He is literally within walking distance.
He won't walk.
No, not at all. Sorry, Dad. The other really big and super important part of what we're getting across here is not only the great entries that we've got at the Gold Coast, we're looking forward to the Basin, but we're looking further forward, mate, into 2024.
We are.
And what will be Series 15 for Hobie.
Yep.
Where are we going?
Well, this is everywhere. So Victoria, Tasmania.
Yep.
So in Tasmania, we've got our 2 events that really worked well last time.
Yep, absolutely.
With a nice little town in the middle of both venues.
Very much so. Just a nice geographical sort of split. I think what we found last time, that Swansea location really then gave us brilliant access to Little Swanport and then the Swan River. And I guess whilst we had good numbers, we believe that both venues can hold better numbers than that again.
Oh, definitely.
And because of the success we had there, and of course too, because of the relationships that we managed to develop with with both venues.
Yes.
It was really just a bit of a no-brainer to go back and kind of rinse and repeat.
It was so easy. It was easy. Pick up the phone. Hey, do you mind if we're...
Yeah. The other thing that makes it super easy to put these events together are the other relationships that we have, Jimbo, with ABT.
Yep.
With Morgo and Nicole obviously coming along to be a part of our events, gives us access to boat and some additional media content, and then obviously we can return the favour when they head off to what I can at least now say is going to be St Helens and the Derwent.
Correct.
Again for them, so it's basically a rinse and repeat for both parties. And what you will need to do though is make sure you jump on to the ABT socials and the announcement from Morgo and Nicole, I guess on the true ABT side of it, because there's some really, really cool information that Morgo and Nicole will have for all of those anglers travelling down there. Yeah. It'll be great to see the likes of Al Lister coming along and doing the kayak event and then being able to jump over and do the boat event.
I think we had Hicko, Tom McLean.
Brett Crow will be able to do the same thing. So any of the non-boaters that perhaps are from the kayak events that want to jump over and do those boating events, no better opportunity than to do that. So so make sure that as soon as those entries are open with the team at ABT, that any of the kayak guys and girls that want to jump on and do a non-boating event, I know that both of those locations really turned out some sensational results.
And there is a nice little flow. There's a nice gap between the events. So the Hobie events.
Yes.
So our opener, Little Swanport, 5th and 6th of March.
Correct.
There is 2 days in the middle. Gives Hobie the chance to prep and get ready at Melshells for the second round at the Swan River.
Yes. So we're 5, 6 on. 7, 8 is 7 is a true lay day.
Yep.
8 is a pre-fish day for the Swan, and then 9, 10.
Correct.
And just going back to that Swan, Butch, 7.99 kilos over the 2 days. Just out of this world. So if there's some of the anglers that have been down there for the last event that obviously want to learn a little bit from that experience, and then obviously, guys, you know, any chance that you get the opportunity to potentially bang a 2 kilo brim, if anywhere's going to do it, Tassie's going to do it.
Definitely.
So we'll definitely make sure that we get all of that detail out as soon as possible. We'd like to release some information for the Spirit of Tasmania, and we're likely to do that on Monday in that link. And then obviously ABT will put up the link. We'll put up the link, and it'll give competitors the opportunity to jump on and grab some discounted rates there that ABT have managed to secure with the Spirit of Tasmania. And then they've basically got a block time of the in and the out.
They have, and it's pretty broad.
To fall within, It gives everybody an opportunity if you want to go down for a break for a few days before and a few days after. There's more than enough scope to do that.
Yes.
Outside of that, mate, I think we've covered the best part of it. Obviously, Joel Crosby still leading the way in AOY. The Gold Coast event is really going to figure out what is going to likely cement that position. And just as a very, very quick recap, back on our Georges River round, congratulations again to Russell Babacure, mate. An absolutely class act, but needless to say that Jason Marshall put him through his paces to round that one out. And of course, Tony Petty, you know, another sensational result there with effectively 98 points.
Not too bad for a Victorian.
Not too bad for a Victorian, but Jim tells me that a Queenslander is guaranteed.
Oh, no. I keep putting the mockers on these poor Queenslanders. I'm going to... No.
All right, I'm putting the mocker on every Queenslander up there then, and we'll see how that one
I have to stop doing that. The other thing too is straight after Gold Coast, we will be opening the entries for St George's Basin. So,
correct. Yes.
Gives everyone a fair bit of time to get organised for that event. But
and mate, we'll obviously do our very best to make sure that if we can get a coffee van up to the event, that we'll do our best to make that happen.
Definitely working on that
as we are in these cooler months. But nowhere better to be than the GC.
No.
So, and an additional shout out in advance, just one final time to the team at ABT. Thank you very much for the partnership and assistance with your lovely boat for this particular round. So,
new one for you this time.
Well, mate, I haven't run this one aground, have I?
I haven't copped the green one over the front.
I was talking to Crowie about that the other day, and he said that the running aground on the Swan River was just like watching a train wreck in slow motion. He knew what was about to happen, and I couldn't stop. So yeah, look, Morgo will be much more careful. I will be much more careful with this one. So, with that being said, everyone, thank you very much for your time with us. Looking forward to the Gold Coast. If you haven't entered, if there's anything that we can do to help, perhaps get you there, please let us know. Also reach out to the team at Sunstate Hobie up there with Gordon, Sunstate Hobie and Sunstate Water Sports. Anything that they can do to get another person on the water, I know that they will help with. Be there or be square. Signing off here from Hobie Fishing, and looking forward to seeing everybody on the Gold Coast in a week's time.
Absolutely.
All right, Jimbo, thanks. Cheers, everyone.
Bye-bye.